Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the State of the League podcast. With me, as always, is the world famous Pablo Escoball. I'm your host, Jack, aka JokicJoestar. Today, we are taking on, I suppose, the role of like Roman aristocrats or upper class people. We're big tournament guys today. We're spending all day at the tournaments. We're talking about the NBA's in-season tournaments, the Bucks Pacers game, as well as the Pelicans Lakers game, and a variety of topics that go along with those things, as well as later on, maybe a little peek into what the play in tournament is currently looking like. So, Pablo, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's a crisp 50-degree day where I am in an undisclosed location. I'm wearing shorts today. What a blast. You know what you just reminded me of? You know how there's the whole Roman Empire trend was a thing, and
Mm-hmm.
now it has evolved into like my Roman Empire is this, my Roman Empire is that, and it's become like a whole new phrase. I wonder how long it's going to be until someone like unironically, just 100% genuinely makes a video and they're like, my Roman Empire is actually the Roman Empire. and then and then also what you made me think of is I wouldn't be super interested in going back, like if I had the chance to go back in time to the Coliseum and to watch a gladiator fight in the Coliseum, I wouldn't be super interested, but man, I would pay good money to to go into the Naruto verse and watch the tuning exams. That might be my number one fictional event that I'd love to watch.
Damn, that does sound fun. That's tough. I don't know. I haven't really thought of that many fictional events that I'd love to see. I suppose I don't know, blood sport like the Hunger Games. If I could just remove
Mm.
myself from the child murder of it all, could be entertaining. I feel like, especially, I would love to see the fan dynamics of the Hunger Games because there's social media in that verse and shit like that. So it's just like, damn, Katniss is on fraud watch or PETA's getting packed up right now, stuff like that. It could be very funny. I would love to see what's going on in the peripheries of that world. However, I would also love to see how you feel about the Milwaukee Bucks falling to the Indiana Pacers yesterday.
Ah,
How you doing?
I was surprised. I thought the Bucks would win. I thought, listen, they're figuring it out. They everything is going well. It seems everyone's getting more comfortable in their roles. This is a team that's they're going against the worst not the worst, the 28th ranked defense in the league. Should be something Giannis and Damian Lillard devour. But they couldn't do it. They couldn't keep up with the Pacers. I've seen a lot of different analysis. The bench was severely outscored. It's like 43-11 or something crazy. I saw people saying that like the Bucks tried to match their pace, and but like they're not accustomed to playing at that pace, so they're not making the same amount of shots. They're trying to beat the Pacers at their own game. I don't know if anybody can aside from like the Kings, maybe. And yeah, Tyrese Haliburton just went God mode. He hit Dame with the Dame time celebration. Oh my God, it's drama. The only complaint I have is I wish the court looked a little bit cooler, and I wish the Vegas crowd was more into it. I think they were into it for LeBron, but I think they were like, "Who's Tyrese Haliburton? I don't know him."
Yeah. I felt the same way about the crowds. I think, especially for the East, it's just like you give the entire state of Milwaukee and Indiana like 2.5 days to get a flight to Vegas.
Yeah.
It's not the easiest thing in the world. And so like I think if they had figured out a way to just I'm not like I don't care if a team just gets like home court advantage for this.
Yeah.
Like if the record's a little bit better. Because yeah, the for what should have been an insane crowd game. Like if Indiana had gotten to host that Bucks game the way they got to host the Celtics, holy fuck, dude, that would have been so exciting because the Celtics game was electric as well. In terms of actual play, I don't know. I'm not like that surprised by what went down. I think the Bucks all season have looked outside of Giannis, obviously, like a team that does not like love transition. Like Giannis thrives in transition, but everybody else is super old. And in terms of like defense, like running back and getting set, I feel like Indiana ate them alive in transition. And then in terms of offense, nobody leaks out. Like Giannis is a lot of the times it's the guy who's getting the ball and running the fast break. And so if he's not there to like run and be like, hey, I'm on the block, let me get the ball in transition before they all get set up. Nobody for Milwaukee is really interested in doing anything like that. And then once you get into the half court offense of it all, Giannis thrived. Indiana didn't have an answer for him all game, and he had like 37 points and 10 rebounds and was super impressive. But just like it felt like Milwaukee should have been able to capitalize on the gravity he was creating and how Indiana was reacting to him every time he caught the ball on the block. Because it's fucking Aaron Nesmith down there. They have no answer for Giannis, but still, like, it just ended up being weird Malik Beasley floaters a lot of the time, or just shit that it's like not the shot you should be able to get if you're a team that wants to win a championship against literally. I mean, I thought they were the worst defense in the league. I know the Wizards are right there with them, and then there's probably maybe like the
San
Hornets.
Antonio, I think
Oh
is
my
last.
god, damn, dude, Wembanyama, holy shit. But yeah,
Wimpy Waterburger. Your friends don't know.
But yeah, I don't know. It doesn't surprise me because Halliburton has been so good. And if you do play the Pacers game against them the way that Milwaukee did, you're probably gonna lose.
Yeah, they in the post game TNT show, they were interviewing Tyrese Haliburton and Tyrese Haliburton Sr. Wait, is that his name? I forget if he's a
I think it's
junior.
like John Halliburton or something.
Oh, I think it might be Joe Haliburton.
Mm.
What's it called? But yeah, they talk the same way. It was funny to see. But they Charles actually asked an interesting basketball question to him. He's like, last time you played, did Milwaukee, they beat them the last time they played, correct? Do you know that or no?
I don't know it off the top of my head. Let's go with the assumption yes, it happened.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course, yes. And he said they Milwaukee threw them off by playing zone against them, and he's like, "Did you prepare for that tonight?" And Halliburton's like, "Yeah," but the weird thing about their zone was they were forcing us into the middle, or they were like trying to force us in the middle. Like typically they try and force us to the baseline, but tonight they were forcing us to the middle. So I wonder. I haven't gotten a chance to go back and rewatch the film, so I wonder, like, if that was a huge issue, or if that, how different is that to what they've been doing in these other games? Because it's, I guess the idea would be like funnel them towards your shot blockers, right? And that's what they were trying to get at, but I don't know, didn't work out. And you're
Yeah.
going against like Halliburton and Bruce Brown, who both got floater games, mid range games.
Yes. And then also, like, both of them are very capable of when you get to the middle and you have Lopez step up on whoever it is. The second he commits, they can both make an easy dump off pass to Miles Turner, who has like a capable touch around the basket mid range game like that as well. Like they're running the pick and roll and Brook goes to block the guard shot a lot of the times. Giannis is a nice help side rim protector, but he's so involved off the ball in terms of like trying to prevent passing lanes to the corner or the opposite wing that he's not always able to help over on that block. And so if you dump it to Miles Turner, he went like 2 of 8 from 3, and he still had 26 points on good efficiency, just because there was not a ton that Milwaukee had as far as an answer for him, and as far like I don't know. They should be a good defense. It's just when you when you are constantly like making trades where you give up a little bit too many assets. I feel like that has kind of compounded for Milwaukee to the point where now, if Pat Connaughton doesn't play, there's like nothing in terms of role players. You have 4 good guys. I like Bobby Portis, and I'm being generous by calling him a good guy. You have Giannis, Brook, Dame, Bobby Portis. Malik Beasley can give you 20. I don't think Halliburton even like noticed him at all defensively. Like, yeah, And channeling them to the middle is fine. It's just you have no personnel to guard any perimeter guys at all. It's a reason when you go back and watch it, TJ McConnell was crazy successful against Milwaukee. Like he just got wherever he wanted. And he's not like a quick burst athlete the way Haliburton is or anything where he'll just blow by you. It's just they have nobody who can guard any guards. And that was glaringly apparent in this game.
Yeah, who was there starting back? So Drew last year, and who started with him? Do you remember?
So it'd be like Drew, Brook, Giannis, Middleton at small forward, and it wasn't Malik Beasley because they just picked him up. Who was it? Damn.
That's what I'm trying to remember because was Connaughton starting? I don't know, but if like I remember earlier in the year we were talking about like, Jesus, is Dame that big of a downgrade defensively from Drew Holiday that has like single-handedly destroyed their defense? But I think it might just be both of them because Malik Beasley is probably worse on defense than Damian Lillard. So they just swapped out like elite perimeter defense for catastrophic perimeter defense.
Was it Grayson Allen? Was he their starting guard last year, shooting guard?
Did he? Maybe.
I mean, it says 70 games started in 2023 for Grayson Allen.
Grayson
and I mean, to be honest, he doesn't jump off the screen as like some crazy defender or anything, but when you are going from him and Drew Holiday to Malik Beasley and Damian Lillard, that is two opposite ends of the spectrum defensively, and it's really been noticeable so far. It was just ugly defense the entire time. And to be honest, I think if you're not going to be able to like outrun the Pacers and outpace them, you just kind of have to like go complete zag and force them into like take your time on offense. They're going to give you these like shots that you think you want because they're just trying to pace and get like a good look every trip down the floor. I think a key might be doing everything in your power to slow them down, which I don't know. If you can't guard in transition the way Milwaukee did, or can't, I suppose it's hard.
I had not connected that the Pacers are called the Pacers and they're beating everybody by outpacing them. This is
They're
great.
Literally pace, yeah.
This is like in Breaking Bad when he said, Jesse, it's time we start Breaking Bad, or The Sopranos when he said we're the Sopranos. That is fantastic. It's self-fulfilling. There's a term for this. I forget what it is.
Maybe self-fulfilling prophecy or something.
Yeah,
I guess that'd be it. Yeah, the Pacers.
That's great stuff. But yeah, Grayson Allen. Say what you want about Grayson Allen. He won't give up on defense. He'll trip you if you try and go past him. He might grab onto your collarbone and rip it out of its socket or something. He's not going down without a fight. He stresses over defense. That's why he's got the gray hair already.
Yeah, wrinkled gray hair.
Shout out to Grayson Allen. He doesn't deserve to be compared to the most pathetic human being in the world, maybe in the United States, Ted Cruz. But I'm hoping for a Grayson Allen redemption arc. When we've gone a little bit without incident, right? Like it's been a while.
He fucked Alex Caruso up, and it feels like it's been radio silence since then.
Oh, when was that last year?
It might have been 2 years ago.
Was it Bulls Alex Caruso?
Yes, it was absolutely Bulls Alex Caruso. I remember that, but I don't remember. I think it was probably 2 years ago at this point.
Yeah. So Grayson Allen, rehabilitation works.
Yeah. I mean, I guess so. Damn. I think, I was going to say, oh, yes. So the Pacers shoot 21% from three, still score 130 points. Haliburton still gets 15 assists. And this really felt like a monument to how well Haliburton is able to continually generate good shots for the entire team, even when the jumper isn't falling for people. And even in the fourth quarter, it felt like he was the steadiest presence on either team that was on the floor. And you really felt that like permeate throughout the Pacers offense in terms of just like everybody is generating good looks for each other. The ball does not stick at all. It kind of reminds me of Jokic in Denver, just in terms of like a trillion touches per game at 1 nanosecond per touch. So he's just like, he grabs it and it's gone. He's either shooting or it's out of his hands and he's moving. And Haliburton is very similar. And it felt tangible. It's just surprising to see a game with Damian Lillard and Giannis on the same team, and Tyrese Haliburton is the presence where you're like, okay, that guy is reliable, and you're gonna get a good look if he has the basketball.
Yeah, it's nice to see. Growing up as a Eastern Conference fan who despised LeBron, it's always nice to see somebody who well, I guess he hasn't gone against LeBron yet, so we don't know for sure. But it's nice to see somebody who's 100% sure that they're the best player on the court, even if they're not. Like, he went into this matchup against Giannis and Dame, and he's like, of course I'm better than them. I'm the guy here. And then it's like when you juxtapose that to like the Pelicans game later on, it felt like Zion was like, I don't know, he's LeBron, I don't know. and
Dude.
I used to get so mad growing up, watching. It felt like Paul George was like bowing down to LeBron during games. Everyone in the East was terrified of him. I was so mad. I was like,
Shout out to you're a Bulls fan. Shout out to Joakim Noah is what I was gonna say. What's so good about Cleveland anyways? I don't hear anyone saying I'm going to Cleveland for vacation. That's a bar. Shout out to Joakim Noah.
Yeah, see, they believed, but then they all exploded after 2011. So
maybe that's a testament to LeBron's magic powers. Is like, if you think you're better than him, he's just gonna fucking curse your ankles, your knees, and you're just gonna fall apart.
Man, and the ultimate curse. You know who for sure believed he was better than LeBron? Carmelo Anthony, but they never put it together.
Oh, that's so funny. All right. Speaking of Haliburton being the guy, and speaking of how great Tyrese Haliburton is, and how much everyone loves him, and how good he's been, and how stupid Sacramento was to trade him away, how has the Kings Haliburton trade aged for you? Who won the Haliburton trade? What are your thoughts on this?
So here's the thing. I am in the camp that the Kings lost this trade, because I'll tell you why. Sabonis, I feel like having Sabonis on your roster puts a ceiling on you that you're never going to win a championship. That might sound harsh. As fantastic as an offensive player he is, I feel like 6'9", 6'10", or whatever, like power forward guy who can't really guard anybody. I feel like you can't really exist at the highest levels of basketball with that guy on the court. And it would be one thing if he was like Jokic level offensively, but he's not. He's like Bam level, kind of. Maybe
like literally he is. That's a great comp for him offensively. It's how I feel every time I watch him.
Yeah, and so the second they made that trade, like when it comes to just Haliburton versus Sabonis in a vacuum, I think like Sabonis is never going to be better. Like Sabonis is never going to reach the level of Haliburton right now. And then the other big issue I have with the trade is not even just them versus each other. There's an element to this trade that I think people have forgotten, that they don't really talk about. It's that nobody else knew Haliburton was available. Like, they didn't tell other teams like, hey, we're willing to trade this guy. Everyone thought he was like untouchable.
Damn, I forgot about that.
Yeah, so they didn't like call around and get a market for Haliburton. They just decided, hey, we want Domantas Sabonis. We'll give you Haliburton. Like, and it's just very hard for me to believe that Sabonis was the best return for Haliburton that you could have gotten. And I feel like even if you don't go that route, even if you went a route where you like got a bunch of picks for Haliburton or something, I feel like you could probably get Sabonis with those picks in addition to something else. I've tried to go back and look at who like the best options would have been. I think like when you think of the Kings and like trade candidates, I think everybody always thinks like, oh, Bam Adebayo would be the perfect guy because he played with De'Aaron Fox in college. He can do like Sabonis's role on offense, but he actually can play defense too. But I don't know. I don't think realistically they would have traded him. Like I was looking back, like there was an article from the time where they're like, we're not trading him for Kevin Durant. And I'm like, okay, probably not for second year Haliburton then. And so I don't know exactly what better player they could have gotten. But but I also don't think you had to make that move right then and there. Like, you could have waited until he got a little better, waited till somebody cooler came into the market, and then flipped him for that. Who knows who would have become of it? Because we didn't know Halliburton was available. Who knows who would have become available when you're told, hey, you could get Tyrese Haliburton. And then the other part of the Kings, this is like specifically a Kings mistake. So they part with Haliburton and Fox because they're like, we don't think this could work, and it's like, okay, that's fine. That's not a crazy thought to have. Um, two guys who you think will thrive with the ball in their hands, it'll be like a little bit of a struggle. That's not crazy. What is crazy is trading Halliburton and then going out and drafting Davion Mitchell, who is another guard, and he's like a million years old at the time of the draft. I forget how old he is, but he's just like a 6'2" defensive guard. And I know people will be like, well, he shot 40% from three in college. He looks kind of like Donovan Mitchell at Baylor. He was a fraud 3-point shooter. Everyone knew it. He had one really good year. Everyone said he's gonna regress. And it was just baffling. Like, I think I could be wrong on this, but I think they could have taken Şengün with that Davion Mitchell pick, and then Şengün now. Who'd you
Holy
rather?
shit.
You probably actually, would you? Who would you take right now, Şengün or Sabonis?
Oh, fuck. That's hard. Dude, is it Şengün right now? Oh man. Because okay, Şengün playoffs, question mark. Sabonis
Mhm.
playoffs, stinky, not good. Um and so okay, out of respect, I'm gonna take the perspective of Kings fans in this argument just to kind of I'm not gonna dunk all over Sacramento. I guess I'll say Sabonis right now, but the fact that you're even seriously entertaining it, and Şengün's like a baby and Sabonis is 27, 28 years old, that kind of tells you like the difference in skill level between the two. I think when I look at this trade, I wrote down from Sacramento's perspective, when they made the trade, they are giving up a promising 21-year-old to immediately access a level of competition they haven't been at in a decade, and should be able to sustain for realistically 5 years. Could easily go longer than that, depending on the health, the age, the way they tool the roster around their best players. Is that an insane move to make? Is that a move you would recommend against today if there was a bad team in a similar spot? As someone who really I liked Halliburton, he was fun and I would see cool stats, was not tapped into how he was playing. What was your appreciation of him when the Kings made this move? Were you immediately like, holy fuck, fleece, this guy is going to be 27 and 12 while being the most efficient scorer in the league? Or was it just like, this is a nice young player? How are you feeling about Haliburton when they made the move?
I definitely did not anticipate this level. But at the time, he was already 13-7, no turnovers at all, 40% 3-point shooter. It's hard to look back and remember exactly what I thought his projection would be, or what level player he would eventually ascend to. But I remember immediate reaction. I was like, disaster. And I remember JJ Redick came out and immediately was like, disaster, and everyone was so mad. They were like, you can't say that, you're a big time analyst. But I think also there's a level of for draft nerds, there was a higher level of appreciation for Tyrese Haliburton because everyone loved him at Iowa State, and he was genuinely the most obvious basketball genius you're going to come across in college. He was completely unbelievable. But yeah, at the time, I don't know what I thought he would ascend to, but I think my biggest issue was just getting Sabonis back, because I was like, immediately you just capped your future. And with Sabonis, you think okay, so maybe he's a 4-man, and you could get maybe a rim protecting shot blocking center who could shoot threes next to him. Maybe that'll work out. But that's what he had in Indiana for years with Miles Turner, and it didn't work. So I was like, this is just one of those guys. I just had a similar feeling like the day the Bulls made the Vucevic trade was one of the worst days of my life. I just felt a similar way for the Kings. But I do think it's different for them because I understand from their perspective why giving yourself closer to a playoff level floor and taking away the championship ceiling, I understand why that might be more worth it for them than it would be to like me as a Bulls fan.
Yeah. And I think, I don't know, now that like you're talking about I remember like back when the trade happened, there was this split in my mind around Halliburton where you have 13 and 7 with no turnovers on crazy efficiency. And every time Fox got hurt or sat, it was like, holy fuck, this guy's so good. But simultaneously, there's like that other voice in your head where there's a different timeline, and Halliburton, it's just the fact that he's like sharing the ball with Fox, who is a pretty solid MVP candidate in his own right this year and has been really good for a long time and wasn't on scouting reports super heavily back then. When you're going against the Kings in like 2021 or whatever it was, he was like very up and coming. And so like teams probably weren't 100% ready for him to be as good as he is. And so like I get why the Kings did it. I understand why they did it, and I don't know if I'm quite as hard on no championship ceiling as you are. It would take a lot. The playoff matchups would need to be perfect every round, and they would probably need some injury luck. And even then, I would like Sabonis to be able to hit an elbow jumper before I'm on that train. And that's why, like, if you move Bam to Sacramento, that gets crazy because he can hit that elbow jumper no problem. He loves that mid range. And so you take away a
Oh
little
yeah,
bit of
he's
scoring
shooting
gravity at the rim.
crazy from mid range this year. I don't know if you've seen, but it's like something crazy. Carry on.
He's well, like he always, I don't know, like he has always had that jumper. And so if you put that in a two-man game with De'Aaron Fox where you let either guy get to that spot on the floor, that fucking elbow, it's an automatic basket and surround them with 40% three-point shooters, Kevin Herter or whatever you want. That's a team that I fear a little bit more in the playoffs. And I kind of wish they had Bam now, but they don't. They have Sabonis and there are flaws in his game. And so I don't know. I From a perspective outside of Sacramento, just taking on like the average internet asshole who's looking at this with like no hindsight, history is not going to be kind to this trade at all. Halliburton, to me, best player involved in it right now, on par with De'Aaron Fox right now, if not better, which will likely be the case soon. And if Sacramento doesn't win a championship, I really don't see how people outside of Sacramento look at this as like a win-win trade. Like it rocks. The Beam's sick. I like their team.
The beam.
But like Halliburton is his own beam and he's doing it in Indiana. He's giving the Pacers aura, man. That's hard. Yeah. So I don't know. It's hard to be a Sacramento fan. Even your wins are losses sometimes.
Yeah, if I'm a Kings fan, I'll say this for them. I don't feel bad about like I've seen some people say like, "Oh, trade Fox instead of Halliburton. That's the mistake." I don't feel bad about keeping De'Aaron Fox or having De'Aaron Fox at all in any way. Like this is the like maybe the fastest guy in the league coming out of the draft. People were like, "Well, he'd be great if he ever developed a jump shot." And then it's like, okay, I'm just one of the best mid-range shooters in the NBA now. I'm easily a capable 3-point shooter. I guys, Tyrese Haliburton is leading the best offense in the league this year. I did that last year. And so I think I don't feel bad about having De'Aaron Fox on my roster at all. It just always comes back to Sabonis. And I do, so I think Kings fans would push back and they would say like Sabonis was so integral to that number one offense, and that doesn't there's like no other player that you could trade for with a skill set like that to run that kind of two-man game and do that like passing as an offensive hub. And when I was looking through the options, I guess that is true, but I just wonder like is there could they have been successful with a different player and just playing a different style of basketball, or was this always the only path to success for them?
Yeah, I don't know. Famously, if you have a point guard who can average like 30 and 6 while sharing the ball with a guy who can't shoot and takes like a ton of your passing touches, if you can fit there, you can't fit anywhere else. So that's the only style they had access to. Yeah, no, I get what you mean. And I love Fox, and I think if you switch the guards and you're asking Fox to run the Carlisle offense, his numbers are fucking crazy. The same way that Halliburton's are. It's like when you're sharing the ball with Sabonis, you do have to acknowledge that like he is such a good offensive hub that your numbers as a guy who initiates the offense are not going to look like Halliburton's do. And so the fact that Fox is still like he stepped into that scoring role perfectly. He's a very capable supplementary kind of like 50-50 passer with Sabonis, and they run the two-man game so well. I get it, and I wouldn't be mad if you're a Sacramento fan. It's just like I don't know. It's the way it shook out. And to be honest, kind of similar to like the Paul George Kawhi trade. If you don't know what Halliburton is going to become, most of the time it feels like Sacramento fans would make that trade again.
Yeah. Do you mean like with giving up Shea in that trade?
Yeah, just George? Like the way people are like, oh, dude, the Clippers got fleeced for getting Paul George. And I'm like, if it's 2019, Kawhi's coming off that run, Paul George was just an MVP finalist. You're really going to let Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, this kid, like he's going to be the sticking point? And I mean, hindsight, yeah, he rocks down, but I don't know. You make that trade.
That people never convinced me that was a bad trade. 30 out of 30 teams would have made that trade. I think every iteration of every front office of every team in NBA history would make that trade. It was Kawhi. It was Paul George. And there were health concerns, but like, man, if you could go, if they sent you back in time right now and they were like, you can do this trade and there's a chance it's a different timeline. There's a chance they're healthy this time. Are you like, let's do it, or are you like, oh, Shea's pretty good in the few years?
Like, dude, the idea. Well, first of all, if I'm the front office guy and it comes out that I didn't make that trade, and I don't get my job by the time Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is averaging 30 points per game. If it comes out that you passed on Kawhi Leonard to keep this kid, yeah, if you gave me an opportunity and said, hey, it's like a 15% higher chance that these guys put it together with all the depth that the Clippers assembled around them. And I don't love their team now, which we'll maybe get to in the play-in tournament later and everything. But a few years back, like bubble area, right when the trade happened and they had really solid depth to go along with those two top-tier guys, that was a team that if shit shakes out differently, if there's a little bit of health one way or the other, they could be a championship team, and that is really hard.
Yeah, I feel like it looked, the bubble run looks a little bit different with the perspective we have now. At the time, people were like, "Oh, they lost to Jokic, just Jokic. These guys are frauds." But now we look back and we're like, "Well, yeah, they lost to Jokic. He's Jokic."
Yeah, exactly.
They somehow survived. Luka Doncic shooting them all in the head with a Desert Eagle every single game. That was crazy.
Yeah, that might be the worst agenda series of all time, just split 50-50 between people like wanting to shit all over Luka, and he lost but averaged like the craziest stat line we've seen in years, and then people wanting to shit all over Kawhi and Paul George, but like Luka's this force of nature that anybody in the league is going to have difficulty overcoming, especially back then. Like there was no reason for him to share the ball at all. There was no Kyrie Irving on the team. I guess Brunson was like maybe around, or I don't even know if he was in the league at that point. He might have been at Villanova still.
No, but he was there, and they had the corpse of Porzingis as well.
Oh, damn. Talk about another thing that didn't work out. Holy shit. And
you want to know something? I remember where I was when I got the notification that Porzingis was going to the Mavericks. I thought it was going to change everything. It was my 9/11, but in a positive way. What is it? What is there a positive news event that's like 9/11 that everyone remembers where they were for?
I don't know. We got to come up with that. We got to coin reverse 9/11. Like I remember, yeah, maybe like my daughter being born or something like that. But like it's not like everyone's daughter was born at the same time. Yeah. So my happy 9/11. We can just call it that for now.
My 11/9. No.
November 9th. Never forget. All right. So Sacramento, sorry guys, but we're moving on. We're talking about another pretty interesting game, not nearly as exciting of a finish. Pelicans Lakers. How did you feel about this game?
I was disappointed. I was riding a high from the previous Pelicans game. I thought they looked really good. Zion had a subpar stat line against who was it? Was it the Kings or who did they
Yeah, it
beat
was the
before?
Kings. Their
Yeah.
previous win.
Yeah.
It was the
Yeah.
Kings.
Yeah, they so Zion had a subpar stat line in that game. I went and rewatched it. I thought he played fantastic in that game. Like the offensive gravity that he was imposing on the Kings, he created so many open shots for his Pelicans teammates. I thought he had some good defensive possessions, like a little better than usual. And so I was so stoked. I was like, this is the chance. Zion redemption tour on the national spotlight in Vegas in front of all the degenerates. He's the king of the degenerates because of the cheating, you know. And
Yeah.
then he'll stick it to LeBron. He'll shove his elbow down LeBron's throat, and he'll be nothing but an accordion, like when the mallet falls on you in Tom and Jerry. This will be Zion Williamson. Everyone's back in. Everyone is a Zion Williamsonist. But he just seemed, I don't know if he didn't care or if he was tired. I'm willing to bet, I would bet more on tired because he was just like walking the entire game, and it was just disappointing. He still went 6 for 8, but he just
It
did
was
not
not a good
attack.
game. It was not a good game. Like the efficiency rocked, but holy shit, watching it in real time, especially the second half, my God.
Yeah, it's like there was nobody physically equipped to handle you at the rim on that Lakers team. Even Anthony Davis, he's too little. I don't know why you don't attack more. He had like a Cam Reddish one-on-one. He didn't attack. I was like, do you feel bad because you're former Duke teammates? You don't want to bully him in front of everyone in Vegas? He was not driving in from the perimeter. He would like go into these back down post ups, which is something he can do, but it's not something I love because there was a study that I read years ago. I forget everything about it, so I guess it's basically useless. But the study said that you just essentially you draw more free throws driving in from the perimeter rather than just starting with the ball down low and operating from there. So I with him I've all and they tried to play Zion like when he first came in the league. They tried to play him as like a post up threat, and there, if you remember, there were a lot of Zion doubters like Gilbert Arenas and stuff. I think it's because they didn't watch him at Duke and they thought he was a post up guy, and they thought like, oh, he's just going to be like this undersized bully ball post up guy. But to me, he's always been just enormous Derrick Rose. And so I just want you driving in from the perimeter, racking up all these free throws. But you know what it felt a little bit like to me? He do you know what he shot from the free throw line? I don't remember off the top of my head, but it was
It was
not like
atrocious. First six,
he
he was 1 of 6. I don't know if he shot any more after that.
Yeah, like I remember clearly seeing him miss 2 out of 2, and so I wonder if he got a little gun shy because he was worried about drawing free throw because they can't stop him without fouling. So it felt like he probably got a little gun shy drawing free throws, and so for the rest of the game he was just jogging, bringing the ball up, just being like a hub, but not being an offensive threat in any way. And then defensively, it was just another rough game. It just seemed like he didn't care.
Yes. Yes to everything you said. It's one of the most frustrating games I've watched from him in a long time, just in terms of everything that the Pelicans have been constructed for. There is a hole at the center of it that is the size of like 26 points per game on 60% from the field. That is like They need and if he's not on the floor, they have the personnel to win games in other ways, it feels like, especially like if you're considering the fact that you're swapping him out for a really good defender, especially if Nance comes back, you're going to have this rotation of just like very long athletic guys capable of doing a lot of different stuff defensively. But what really jumped out to me is the game. Pelicans were up one entering the second quarter. LeBron hit 3 straight pull-up threes, which like that was the big clip. Everyone lost their mind, and we'll get to LeBron in a second. He fucking rocked. But like New Orleans just could not generate good offense for the entire rest of the game. Like every single shot they took, it felt like Doc Rivers was like, "Oh, that's tough jumper," stuff like that, and so if you're them and you're going against LA, who not only was having a phenomenal shooting night, but every other shot they took seemed like it was coming directly underneath the rim, it's going to be really hard for you to keep up with that offensively because the Pelicans are not a good defense. They have good defensive pieces, but I don't really see them like stopping a good offense pretty often. And so like to me, that boils down to Zion and the way that he played. And especially, I think the free throw note was good because it did feel like he didn't want to go to the free throw line. And so a lot of the times he would get this angle where you're like, okay, he's going to the rim and he might convert it for an and one. He might make the layup. He might get fouled, go shoot two. He gets that angle. And like the second or third step he has towards the basket, it's a kick to the wing, it's a kick to the corner. And like it just felt really predictable, and I never felt like the Lakers were that worried about him overwhelming them the way he should be able to. Like, why aren't you going into the chest of Jackson Hayes, man? What happened? What are we doing here? It was really frustrating.
I remember specifically when he like passed out of attacking Jackson Hayes because he was walking up to him like he was going to do something, and I was like, oh my god, he's thinking back to the practice days. I used to put you in the rim. I'm like, yes, this is it. The comeback starts now. But he's like, I'm not into it. He also also with him like not being aggressive, there was LeBron drew 2 charges on him, which is annoying.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, I don't know if you remember this, he took like a pull-up jumper like 3 feet away from the hoop. It was
A Westbrook midi. Yes, dude. I remember it
the
very clearly.
funniest looking thing in the world. And then who was the commentator? I forget who the commentator was. I think it was a woman commentator. Who was it last night? Do you remember?
It was a WNBA player. Maybe is it?
Oh, it was Candace Parker.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's Candace. Yeah.
Yeah. She was like, yeah, he's got to add this to his game. That's what we want to see more of. And I was like, I don't want more of that. I'll say this. I don't know where people are with the belief in Zion's jumper. Going back to the Duke days, I've never been counting on the jumper. I've never believed in the jumper. I've never wanted to believe in the jumper. I do not think it's necessary. I think he's one of these rare players where you need to be able to hit free throws. The jumper doesn't matter. There's very few bodies in the NBA that are equipped to handle you at all. And the most frustrating part is right now he looks enormous. He looks very out of shape. He's walking up the court. He looks gassed. He looks like he doesn't want to play. When he does do things, he's still unstoppable. Like
Yes.
even in this shape, he's still completely unstoppable. They're still game planning for it. The night before the game, the coaches are saying when he gets the ball, we need at least 4 guys in the paint to handle this. But he's just not interested. I don't get it. And yeah, like you said, the Pelicans, when I looked before the game, I think they were the 14th ranked offense and the 14th ranked defense. And then today, when I looked, they were the 17th ranked offense and the 17th ranked defense. So it's just weird to have a team full of these like long athletic defenders. Herb Jones is like, they were talking about Doc Rivers was like kneeling at the altar of Herb Jones during the game, rightfully so. Trey Murphy is a fantastic defender. Jose Alvarado is a fantastic defender. Brandon Ingram is long, at least. Zion, even though he doesn't play defense, when he does play defense, he's like explosive ground coverage, skying up for these blocks and everything. And so even when Zion's not playing, it feels like they should have the personnel to be one of the better defenses in the league, but it just doesn't work. And I wonder, like, is he really, is he that damaging of a defender without by not trying, or is there just something missing with this Pelicans unit?
Well, last night I would say he was that damaging of a defender because you do want to be able to rely on him to be like a help side contest ish for anything LeBron does getting into the paint, as far as like helping Herb Jones out. Herb's got his fucking hands full. He's giving up like 40 pounds in that matchup, it
Yeah.
seems like. And so, yeah, like every defensive possession, it seemed like Zion was walking around. But you do, like, you hit on it. He looks like Escalade from And One mixtapes right now. But then you see his first step is like fucking, he breaks the speed of sound sometimes. He's so explosive. And it's going back to his high school days, it's always been this thing where watching him move through space, you're like, this is not how like the human body is supposed to function. And it's just like this very cognitive dissonance. You don't know what you're looking at now more than ever because he is out of shape, but he still has that athleticism. And so, yeah, I don't know. I just I wrote down a list of things that I was kind of not happy about Zion. Hustle, defensive IQ, defensive motor, conditioning, scoring aggression, predictability on offense. And I felt like all of that was just like a driving factor in the Pelicans' loss. And to be fair, we are shitting on him because it was like visually apparent that shit was wrong. None of the other Pelicans played well. And if they do, maybe it's a closer game.
Honestly, yeah, I was so in my feelings about Zion. I was so down. I don't even know what anyone else did in that game. Do you have the box score? Do you
Off the top
like
of
what did
my,
Ingram do?
I think okay. So the box score, I don't remember. I didn't really look at the end of the game because I recorded my video on this at the end of the third quarter at the 40-point lead mark. Trey Murphy
Casual.
had, yeah, I know, dude. Just skipping the fourth. They made it close. They made a run. It's closer than the score suggests. Yeah. The starters, I remember there was only two in double digits. It was like him and Valanciunas. And Zion had 13 points, led the starters, and the efficiency from the box score looked fine if you ignore the free throws. Ingram had 9, shit efficiency. Nobody shot like close to 50% from the field. They shot pretty horribly from 3-point range. I want to say like 20%. And yeah, I mean, like, it's just the fact that you don't remember anyone else doing anything. And so, like, Zion was glaringly apparent, but the fact that nobody else, like, helped at all, it's, yeah, I would expect more from a Pelicans team that we tout as having so many good players, even if they're not, like, even if their record doesn't reflect it.
Yeah, it's just like they're the sleeping contender. When everyone's playing how they're supposed to, they're a contender, but they just don't do it.
And can you imagine like 2021 Zion on this team? Because I think about it all the time, and like the fit is there. They have the opportunities for him to like excel at all the stuff he did well that year, and he just doesn't do it anymore.
I'll tell you what, I'm not even that Zion. If we put Duke Zion in the NBA, I legitimately believe 100% that's the best Zion ever. Like, even the Zion that averaged whatever 27 on 60% true shooting, like best rim finishing numbers, whatever. I don't think that's better than Duke Zion. I think if you drop Duke Zion into yesterday's game or any NBA game, he is playing better than any Zion we've ever seen. He was in great shape. He was flying around everywhere defensively. People won't remember this. I'll remember this because I would die for Zion. But what was so different about him was he came into college as like a mystery, because he was like this high school just mixtape guy, and like you'd see videos, it's like, oh my god, this huge guy is doing all these dunks, but he's playing against 5'6" white kid who hasn't hit puberty. Like, how real is this? And I remember like he went to a Team USA basketball camp, and he weighed in at 280, like 6'7", 280, and everyone's like, "Whoa, he's 280! I can't believe he's 280." But he still looked like jacked back then. That was like in shape Zion. That was 280, and then we went going into that year. RJ Barrett was thought to be like for sure number one pick because he had beaten like Team USA at a youth level, and that never happens. And so they go on this Canadian tour, like they play McGill University and a bunch of like Duke plays all these Canadian universities. One game of Zion, everybody's like, this is it. This is the guy. This is a goat. This is a future goat. And he tried so hard. Every game he was diving on the floor for loose balls. He was crossing the court. He was on one end of the court. DeAndre Hunter shooting a three on the other. He's jumping. He's setting the world record, long jump record to block a shot. His steal rate, his block rate, everything was crazy. He's flexing all the time. He's yelling, and oh my God. You never in a million years could you have convinced me in 2019 that this is a guy who's gonna end up not caring about basketball. Oh my God!
Exactly. That's just what I was thinking. Was like, dude,
it's the greatest tragedy in basketball history, maybe. Oh,
like I did the motor he played with at Duke constantly, every time he was on the floor, was trying to do everything all the time, and it's just. Yeah, I don't know. And he's only 23 at this point, and maybe he's a guy who a change of scenery helps. Maybe he's a guy who just like figures it out at some point during
maybe
this season.
Chicago brings out the best in him. Maybe he like wants to come to Chicago. I don't know. I like
The
maybe
Windy City, I can guarantee just based on vibes, if he goes to Chicago, he's done with basketball in like 2 years. Like he's just out of the league.
it's her like there's going to be a nuclear explosion in Chicago, and we're going to be like, what happened? And then it's going to be like, oh, somehow this is the first human ever recorded instance of this happening. Somehow Zion Williamson's knee caused an atomic blast with the second he stepped foot in the Bulls training center. The weirdest thing in the world. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, dude, if you told me that Zion like a major joint injury to Zion caused like an explosion that brought down a building just with all the force that he stores in his body when he jumps, wouldn't surprise me. He's insane. All right. We're done. We're done shitting on Zion because we're praising my glorious king LeBron. LePookie, yay.
Not
He
my
did so
king.
good. He did so
I'm
good last night.
I'm a hater. I'm doing this begrudgingly.
Okay, well, I mean, fuck you, buddy. It was, I don't know. I think LeBron has been so good this season,
Oh
and I'm
man.
not even like a huge LeBron guy. It's this thing. It's like living next to the mountains or something. Is growing up watching LeBron, where you just look out the window and it's it's like there every day, every single day, and it's like
That's good.
beautiful
That's
and
good.
sick. But at some point, you're just used to living next to the mountains. It's like, dude. Oh, cool. The most efficient 30-point game you've ever dropped at 39 years old. Oh my God. You're going up against the guy who was like, you were his athletic comparison coming out of college. And he was supposed to be this complete, overwhelming physical guy. And you're just going like bar for bar with him, despite the fact that you're geriatric. Oh my God. And so, yeah, I think the official title for this segment is Where Does LeBron Currently Rank amongst the league's best players? But we can talk about his game last night or just his season so far, whatever you want to do. Let's get into it.
All right. So, would you take him over Jokic?
No.
Me neither. Would you take him over Steph?
Is Steph your number two?
It's not in any. Have a top. It's not in direct order.
Okay.
I went by the Ringers top 100 order.
Petulant Trey Young, baby. I'll say no. I won't take him over Steph.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. Joel Embiid.
In a playoff series, I would very seriously consider it, or if like I needed to make a playoff run. But for the regular season, and if I'm like a GM trying to get seeding and everything, I would still go Embiid.
Yeah, me too. Luka?
No.
Giannis.
No.
All right, we're in agreement. And then here on out, this is where we're in the territory. Jason Tatum.
Yeah, that's right where it gets gnarly for me too. That's my list. I have two tiers of I have Jokic and Giannis. Clear yes, you're taking them over. Luka, Embiid, Steph 99% yeah. Like it's not the same tier of players the first two, but yeah, you're probably doing it. And then the next one I have Kevin Durant, Tatum, Shea, and LeBron right now is like just the four that a quick look through of what the league looks like. I was like, I think LeBron's right there with all of those players.
Yeah, I think it's like Tatum, Booker, Durant, SGA, Edwards, and maybe Haliburton. But like I was thinking, like realistically, let's just say for this season only, would you rather, if you're a Celtics fan, would you rather have Tatum or would you rather have LeBron with that roster?
Oh my god. I guess I'd probably I don't know. I think I might rather have Tatum just in the sense that he's a way more reliable three-point shooter it feels like, and it's something that the Celtics roster can't function without. Like they live and die by the three, and Jaylen Brown I don't feel comfortable with like handing the reins to be one of the primary floor spacers, and Porzingis is like really in and out of the lineup as far as health goes. And I think that's just like the situation they're going to be in with him for the whole season. So for the Celtics roster, I would probably take Tatum, but like situation to situation around the league, there's plenty where LeBron fits better.
Yeah, I think I'm just straight up at the point. I think to me he's the sixth best player in the league this year so far. He's not, all right. So I got some propaganda for you.
All right,
So
let's get it.
25 points a game on 64% true shooting. That's like the highest he's been in forever. That's like Miami years. 8 rebounds a game, 7 assists per game. 2.1 steal rate, which is really good. First time above 2 since 2015, 2016. You know what happened then? Championship. 41% from 3 on 6 attempts per game. 77% at the rim. In cleaning the glass has him as a 92nd percentile rim finisher this year. The free throw numbers are the one thing that's like doesn't look like old LeBron. He's only getting there 6 times a game, and he's shooting like low 70%. But the on off right now with him on the Lakers, what would you guess that the Lakers are? Like, how many points better do you think the Lakers are with him on the court?
Oh man, I hate to be someone who overguesses. I'm gonna say they're plus 12 with him on the court.
Plus 21.2 with him
Holy
on the court.
fuck.
He is in Jokic territory. And this obviously we're not at the end of the season, but this is higher than any season he's ever had. Like even going back to the Cleveland days, it's never been this high. And so it just feels like we still have a version of LeBron who is unstoppable getting to the rim, like unstoppable finishing at the rim, carrying this Lakers team, still a fantastic passer, and he's playing fantastic defense again. And so it's hard to pick very many guys over him. And yeah, like you said, Embiid in the regular season, you can't really take LeBron over him because Embiid is like the leading scorer in the league, still super efficient, crazy rim protecting. But like when you get into the playoffs, like honestly, in a playoff series, the only person I would feel like 100% comfortable saying, "Oh, my guy will outperform LeBron," I think it might only be Jokic.
Yeah, I feel pretty similarly, especially the prerequisite for LeBron. It's hard because you're looking at this like I need 6 straight healthy weeks out of this 39-year-old after asking
Mhm.
him to carry a really big load during the regular season. And that's sketchy. But if you get like if you guarantee me that, and even if you guarantee it for everyone else in the conversation, like you tell me Joel Embiid 100% will be healthy for the playoffs, I would I'd still go LeBron over him. I would still go LeBron over Kevin Durant. I would still go LeBron. Giannis is a little bit sketchy to me. I think if you ask either one of them to like cook the Celtics with a healthy Porzingis, that's going to be a series where they get their numbers. It's going to be ugly percentage wise, and shit's just going to be really rough. But the fact, yeah, I mean, he's right there with all of the league's best players at 39 years old. It's fucking crazy, and I don't know. I want AD to do more offensively because I want to see this version of LeBron in the postseason. And I'm really glad the Nuggets won last year because if LeBron, that foot injury had his jumper so fucked up by the end of the season last year. Like every LeBron pull up in the Nuggets series, I was like, dude, like sigh of relief, fully, this is a brick. I don't care. I'm totally okay with that shot. So far this season, every time he pulls up, like the mid-range pull-up is good. And so like the threes are falling easy at that point because it feels like if you can let him get set behind the arc and he's like catching and shooting, he's a really capable shooter. Or that dumb little like look down off the dribble. He's been phenomenal. And so yeah, can't say enough how much we love LeBron on this channel. I guess yeah, 6 feels really solid. And like if you wanted to be a bronzexual and someone wanted to argue like, oh, he's really 4, I'd be like, dude, I'm not digging my heels in. This is LeBron James, so we can talk about whatever. I think if we revisit this at game 60, he's old and it might be hard to sustain this level of production. And really the priority for the Lakers is like making him as healthy as possible entering the postseason, as opposed to like seeding being the biggest issue in the world as long as they're out of the play-in tournament. But yeah, LeBron rocks.
It's so funny that like so Dwayne Wade was his like sidekick, but they were the same age. And then Dwayne Wade dies and LeBron lives on. He's like, I'll carry on your legacy. I'll go on without you. He gets Kyrie Irving. He's like, you're my young protege. We'll go to the stars together. You'll carry my torch. He has outlived Kyrie Irving. It seems Kyrie Irving is on the downswing. He gets Anthony Davis. He's like, this is finally it. You're the guy. You're going to be able to take my mantle. I'll live on through you. It seems Anthony Davis might be past his prime before LeBron has declined. It's Edward Cullen-esque.
Oh damn! Get him in the sunshine. Let's see if he sparkles, people. Dude, Candace Parker had a really funny announcer moment last night where she was like, they were talking about the Pelicans trade AD to the Lakers, and she was like, "Well, when AD was in New Orleans, he was mostly known as this defensive guy, and he's really stepped into his own offensively since he got on the Lakers." I was like, what fucking league? AD in New Orleans was like 40 points every 3 or 4 games, it seemed like. He was so good. And especially
he averaged like 28 his last year there.
Yeah, and the mid-range, his mid-range was like bams in New Orleans. Like he was a phenomenal mid-range scorer. And since bulking up, since he came to the Lakers, he just like he's one of the worst in the league this season, and he's been really bad for like 2 or 3 straight years at this point. It looks good. It's a mechanically sound jumper. I don't think it's ever coming back. I think the durability issues are going to plague him for the rest of his career. And yeah, LeBron might, like, if we get one more run where it's ancient LeBron and like a new co-star, oh, that'd be so funny.
Oh my God. I wonder, man, the Bronny's about to play for USC. Could happen.
All right. Well, LeBron rocks. Super hot takes on this. I think the last thing we're going to get into here, we're breaking an hour. The play-in tournament. The way I have it right now, I think I checked this at like 1 a.m. last night. So unless they played a secret game I don't know about, the East is 7, the Heat, 8, the Cavs, 9, the Nets, 10, the Hawks. And then the West is 7, the Suns, 8, the Pels, Clips are the 9 seed, and then the Rockets are the 10th spot. How are you feeling about where those teams are currently at? Do you think anybody's going to claw their way out of the play-in tournament, maybe stink out the opposite end? How are we feeling?
You know who's interesting now is the Los Angeles Clippers. Let me read a tweet from the great Jackson Frank. Harden, first 11 games, averaged 14 and 6 on 61% true shooting. Clippers had a 4-7 record. Harden, his last 4 games, 21-8, and the second number is assists.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're shooting, Clippers 3. They are the 6th defense in the league and the 14th best offense. And I don't know if you saw the Thinking Basketball video that Ben Taylor did about the Clippers, but essentially, like, their offense is generating a bunch of open looks. They are creating advantages for each other, but like all the stars, when they get the ball, they just like slow it down. They're just like, well, hold on, let's let the defense reset and then I'll attack. Let me get in my bag. Let me cook. And then, so that feels like a realistic area of improvement. Like, they go through and watch the film and they're like, let's play faster. And when we play faster, when we have Kawhi, Paul George, and James Harden attacking advantageous situations, that seems like an offense that could come up to being top 10. And so I'm interested in the Clippers. The Clippers might be back. Are you in on the Clippers?
No, I think the Clippers fucking suck, and I think Jokic's awful night against them the other night, I think that was cheating, and I think Jackson Frank only plugged that propaganda because he's a Philadelphia fan and he doesn't like Jokic.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Whoa! It's all connected.
Oh my god. No, I see what you're talking about, and I definitely think the talk about moving quicker when you catch fucking basketball. Paul George and Kawhi Leonard have been playing Carmelo Anthony basketball for like 2 straight years at this point, where you catch it in a spot you're comfortable and you analyze the floor. And a mid-range is probably going up, but you're analyzing the floor anyways. And maybe, I don't know, maybe something good happens out of it. It's a huge like mindset shift in terms of how the entire team is playing basketball. Going from something like that where you have 2 guys who really thrive in isolation settings, and instead now where the ball's not sticking, we like it when those guys score for us, but we would rather like catch the defense off guard, and we're going to generate as a team more better offense that way. And I think they're trending in that direction. Harden really stunk the first few games there, and with Westbrook going to the bench, that has noticeably like impacted how he's able to play, and that was good for Westbrook. I don't really like him on the bench for them. I think he's been pretty bad, and I think their bench unit has been pretty bad as well. But as far as like maximizing the talent of their best players, I think they are trending in the right direction. They do have the 8th highest strength of schedule remaining. And so, like, that is a bit of a gauntlet to be figuring stuff out on the fly. It's not the end of the world. This is 3, like, all-star caliber guys, theoretically. So they should be able to win basketball games against good teams. But if you lose a step, or if Paul George or Kawhi miss time, which, like, I'm going to hold my breath, I'm going to knock on wood, they have been shockingly healthy this season, maybe unreasonably healthy if you like came to expect this as a Clippers fan. So yeah, I think if either one of those guys misses time and it takes a little bit longer for them to really reach this free flowing offense, I am a system James Harden situation, it could get scary for them. But I think their ceiling, I wouldn't want to play them in the first round, I'll say that much.
Yeah, one of the benefits of the tough strength of schedule is that they have this up and coming young buck. His name is Terrence Mann. He's only been able to rent a car for 2 years, so it'll be nice. He'll get some experience, much needed experience for a young guy. But you mentioned their bench at some point. I think
I did. Yes.
You know who has the 3rd best bench in the league by net rating via NBA.com? That is the Golden State Warriors. Is Chris Paul leading an elite bench unit? What's going on there?
That's crazy. Damn. I think he's good, and that's always going to make sense to me. Is like, look, you take this guy who hasn't been relying on explosiveness or athleticism for like 8 years at this point. You take him, and he's really smart and really crafty, and you put him against a bunch of guys who are like fighting for their spot in the league and like not really like the cream of the crop. If you put him against non-starters, I think Paul is super capable of running like a cohesive unit that gets a lot of good looks. However, that's also a player that you really cannot play at the end of basketball games, and you're paying him a ton of money. So like for as much advantage as he creates for you with like how much it rocks to have a good bench unit, I wonder. This is my question. I talked about this on Nerd Sesh. Zach LaVine to the Warriors. If you had to give up like Chris Paul to do that or Klay
Oh,
Thompson to do that, what like how would you feel about something like that?
I think so Chris Paul I think just wouldn't happen because they don't really have the picks to or like any unless you know what. Who knows? Who knows with this Bulls front office? They might still think Jonathan Kuminga is the next great developing young wing. So maybe they'll be like, "Hey, if you throw Kuminga in this deal, we'll do it. We'll do it." But outside of a completely disastrous, apocalyptic end of my life trade, Zach LaVine to Chris Paul or for Chris Paul, I think it probably would have to be Zach LaVine for Klay Thompson. And again, like with, I just don't believe that they would do that because he just has too much value for them sentimentally, and I think it would. So what? Remember they like when Wiggins first came there and Kelly Oubre was there, and they had this roster full of like young gun athletes, and we realized like, hey, it's actually you have to be like a high feel player to really make the most of all the advantages that Steph Curry is generating for you. So I don't know. I believe in time Zach LaVine could adjust, but I think it would be growing pains. So I think there's a chance that if they did that trade this year, that he might like they might regret it. They might be like, wait, we traded our one of our guys, like our storied guys, for a guy who's okay. Like he's better than Klay Thompson, but he's not that good. And even as horrible as defensively as Klay Thompson has been, there might be some value in like him just knowing the system and having familiarity with like Draymond Green and Steph and on all their tendencies and knowing where to be. So I think as much as I love Zach LaVine, I think in a vacuum he's clearly a better player than Klay Thompson. I wonder if that trade might be just a little too risky for them, just considering all that they have at stake with Klay. But oh man, they need something. They don't have the firepower. They're 15th. They're the 15th ranked offense, 16th ranked defense. So they're just mid.
Extremely mid. It's oh brother.
And they
I don't know.
and you know who's not mid is Steph Curry. He's still Steph Curry.
Well, that's my whole thing is like, if you're coming at this, like, fuck the fans, fuck all that.
Yeah.
Like, if you're coming at this from the perspective of the front office, you have a player who you are probably never going to see on your team the caliber of this guy again. Like, you're gonna draft another top like 12 player of all time. Fuck off. Okay. So now
I'll
that
just
we've
get the
established
next best shooter ever.
oh my god. Yeah, like so once you establish that, at that point, it sucks to lose Klay Thompson. I get it. The emotional, it's awful. Everyone's crying. Oh my gosh. It's like Apollo 13 in their fucking decision room. Everyone's just like, oh no, oh fuck. But like when you if that is what it takes to maximize the final few years of Steph Curry being Steph Curry, I'm on board for it. And I am not somebody who's been around for like tapped into the emotion of the Warriors, and I don't love Klay Thompson. I feel like he's cool. I like he smokes weed with his dog and stuff, I guess. But
Oh,
beyond that, like I don't care about him that much. So it's a pretty straightforward. Something's got to change. Feels like it needs to be him because if it can't be Draymond, like his value is weird. Like I respect everything he does on the court and how much he adds for them defensively and like maximizing Steph Curry's off-ball movement, but I don't think you're really gonna like a lot of the stuff with Klay is you're letting his money expire. You're just getting like a ton of money off the books and shit like that. Like I don't think he's if anyone moves for him, it's not going to be to add his play to their
no.
arsenal.
Yeah. I mean, unless like Orlando was like, hey, he'll bounce back with us. So we need shooting. Yeah, Draymond is still incredible. And there's not a trade out there where you get a Draymond level, like
No.
someone better than Draymond in a trade. So yeah, they're not going to move him. I'll tell you who's most responsible for tarnishing the end of Steph Curry's career, for removing him from contention. It's a man who was on TV last night. Bob Myers, the war criminal. Do not let him whitewash his actions. Do not let him fade into the media and just become a regular guy and say, oh, I built the team and I just happened to leave. No, you are responsible, Bob Myers. You are a disaster. I need a sip of water before I go further into this. I hate Bob Myers. Say something for a few seconds while I take my sip.
I have to say, like, as again, someone who doesn't care about the Warriors and I'm not that sad that they're not that good anymore. Like, you had a good run, it's fine. I don't care. You got 4 titles. It doesn't matter to me. I am happy that they didn't hit on those picks. Like the idea that they got
Bob Myers, he will try and tell you they've been leaking that the Warriors ownership pushed him to pick James Wiseman. He's like, oh, I didn't want to make that pick, but they forced him upon me. You know what? That's not true, Bob Myers. I was there. I listened to how you talk about him. Bob Myers drafted James Wiseman because they went to dinner and he spoke Mandarin, and Bob Myers was impressed. That's the reason why. James Wiseman was I don't want to call him a fraud because that's a little harsh. James Wiseman's EYBL numbers were not good. He didn't play in college. He was never supposed to be a top pick, but you frauds didn't do your work. You overdrafted him. He was just a regular big man. Everyone knew. Jackson Frank knew. How did you not know, Bob Myers? You put Anthony Edwards through the Steph Curry workout. You said, oh, he can't do the Steph Curry workout. He's lazy. He sucks. Even if we had the number 1 pick, we don't
fuck that
want
guy.
him. We
Get him
hate
out of
Anthony
here.
Edwards. Did they put James Wiseman through the Steph Curry workout? I don't think so. They put him through the Kevon Looney workout or something. That was a disastrous pick. You just don't take that guy. And I wanted them to take Devin Vassell at the time. Not because I thought Devin Vassell has turned out completely different. Like now he's an offensively focused player, whose defense is kind of shaky. It was the complete opposite back then. But there were so many better options. Like they could have taken Haliburton. Apparently they were considering it, but they chose Wiseman. I don't know
Holy
how
shit,
that
that
works
would be
out.
insane.
They could have taken LaMelo. I mean, his body is having trouble holding up, but that was a disaster. But then they doubled down. They took Kuminga. You don't take these athletic raw project picks when you have Steph Curry, you have Draymond Green, you have Klay Thompson, you have everything figured out. You don't need to take the guy who might be good in 5 years and extend your legacy into the beyond. You have Steph Curry right now. You draft guys who can help Steph Curry in the immediate short term. Moses Moody, that was okay. He didn't change your life, but you could have. It's all on Bob Myers. He could
Holy
have
shit.
extended it. He didn't, and he's trying to escape from his war crimes. He is, I don't know who he is. He's John Bolton. Is that the guy's name? He's like I helped organize coups, and now he's on CNN. He's freaking George
Oh.
Bush
See,
throwing
me
throwing
through this
out
whole
first pitch.
soliloquy, I think I felt like he's the guy in Phil Collins In the Air Tonight. You're watching him watch another guy drown. You're watching him watch Steph Curry drown, and you're like, I know what you are, pal. I see you over there. And yeah, like he's got a life preserver, and it's the LaMelo Ball pick, and he's just holding it, and he's throwing James Wiseman at the problem. And yeah, dude. Shout out to Christian Brown for being a good contribute immediately draft pick. Shout out to the Denver Nuggets for being smart. And yeah, like I'm not a big draft guy. I pay a little bit of attention, and it's fine. I think it's fun, but I'm not the smartest guy at evaluating talent. I'm way too nice to people and their flaws. Uh, but immediately I was like, wait, you have like maybe the best player on the planet when they took him. Like Steph Curry was at the absolute peak of his powers if he's even lost like a fraction of a step since then. And you took two guys who are going to be good in 5 years. Like they're going to be really like hitting their stride once they've settled into the NBA and everything. You could win a championship tomorrow, man. What's going on? And yeah, that is really gnarly that he's like, there's the front office. I had nothing to do with it. Yeah, I see you, tech bro. I see you, Silicon Valley man. He spoke Mandarin, and you were like, oh, I have some Chinese friends. I'd be really impressed by this. And so now, yeah, it fucked up the entire franchise, man. And now you got to trade Klay Thompson because of it. That's on you, Bob Myers. God damn it.
And he didn't even have to make a pick. He could have traded those picks for NBA veterans. But he was, you know what? They thought they were light years ahead. You know what? You are light years ahead. And you know where you're heading towards? A black hole, idiot.
Oh, shit. Spaghettification, baby. Yeah, I guess that's really I will never be comfortable with an NBA team straddling a rebuild and a competitive moment in their franchise at the same time. And the Warriors are a really good example of that not working because, yeah, like I guess you could point to the Spurs getting Duncan with that one tank year and being like, well, that's a situation where it worked. But if you're not hitting on fucking Tim Duncan, it's probably going to go really poorly for you.
Hey, you know who they drafted? Kawhi Leonard. Old man, defensive lockdown pick. Won't give you much offense. That's what we said at the time. But he's mature. He can defend. He keeps his mouth closed. He gets his shirt dirty and he defends. But then they were like, hey, I guess he's way better than that.
Yeah, just kind of magically. I don't know. That Spurs system. All right. I'm looking at the rest of these teams in the play-in tournament, which the Warriors aren't even in. That's so fucking funny that we just grinded out 15.
They're close. They're like a game out, right?
Yeah. I mean, the West is completely different. Like it feels like the East, it's going to be a little bit harder to make it out of, whereas the West, it's going to be different every week when you check in. I think the Rockets are kind of interesting because they were good and they've stunk recently. And I don't know their recent record, but I know the vibes have not been as good in terms of like, oh, all the Grizzlies shit. They were really relying on Dylan Brooks to win all these games, and now Houston slowed down a little bit, and the Brooks hype is dying down. And I don't know, Şengün rocks, and I'm bigger on them now than I was prior to the season still, but it just feels like they're coming back down a little bit to earth.
Yeah, they are. The last time we checked in on them on here, they were the 5th ranked defense. They are now the 4th ranked defense, but they are the 20th ranked offense. So somehow this team is having major offensive issues. It might have something to do with Fred VanVleet being the worst finisher in the entire NBA. I cannot believe
I saw that video. Fred VanVleet, what the hell are you doing down here, man?
I couldn't believe it. He's down there below D'Anthony Melton, Dante DiVincenzo, 35% the rim or something. It's crazy. And then I saw a video of him like giving advice to young guards, and he's like, you have to play defense. You have to pick up full court. You're not going to get a chance in the NBA unless you're Trae Young. You're not going to get a chance at that as an undersized guard. And I was just thinking, like, are you still that guy? I don't even know. I feel like you're kind of closer to the Trae Young spectrum. Not defensive, like he's not that bad, but still he's like very small and he's just a guy who chucks threes. So, but the Rockets, I don't know about the vibes. I did just see a video of Tari Eason dancing with Boban in the locker room. They were doing some pretty good footwork, so maybe the vibes are salvageable. They're okay. But I don't know. As I think it's just incredibly clear now. This is a Şengün team. Everything has to go through Şengün. He's the guy, and it's just on everybody else to catch up. And so I do wonder if that's going to happen in the Fred VanVleet era, or if those reins have to be passed off to somebody else. Also, Amen Thompson is back in the G League, and he's looking pretty enticing.
He is. He had a big triple double. It was funny. He's putting up video game numbers on guys who just they'll never see the league, but he's just cooking the shit for 'em, man. Yeah, I don't know. I think with the comeback down to earthness of it all, that's when you take a look and you're like, oh, they gave Van Vliet 3 years instead of they could have given him because yeah, like now you are. I don't mind the Fred Van Vliet, Dylan Brooks era. It's fine. It's worked out way better than I thought it was going to. But the fact that you're pretty committed to this for like the next 2 or 3 seasons, and you can't. It's not a very tradable contract. It's a ton of money, and he
It's
is
like 40 mil, right? That's Zach LaVine money, and people think
yeah,
Zach
you could.
LaVine's too expensive. Fred Van VanVleet's making 40 million.
Yeah, dude. And so I think they're kind of stuck with it, and it'll probably overlap with them paying one of these young guys, if not more. Feels like their contracts will be up soon enough. And so if the Şengün era doesn't fully take off for 4 years, that'll be sad. I think they'll figure out a way to work around it. And I don't know. They have a really good, really easy strength of schedule for the rest of the season. It's like 28th. It's just also, if anything goes wrong in the West, if you go on like a big skid, it's going to be really hard to crawl your way back up the rankings. They have like they're 11 deep with solid teams. It seems like.
Yeah, it's just the vibes are not this year, but soon. Once because just based off the talent on this roster, that should not be the 20th ranked offense. And so
No,
if you're this good at defense already, with Şengün starting, and a lot of people would not have thought that a fourth ranked defense was possible with Şengün. I've been optimistic about Şengün's defense since Turkey. Even I didn't anticipate this. So
he's blown me away defensively, just in terms of, I don't know. I feel like I've said it on here before. The baby Jokic moniker. Everyone thinks they can fucking go at him and get to the rim, and it's like, no, he's actually a shockingly good athlete, and he's really 7 feet tall, and he'll block you, man. And he's a solid contest. He's got some lateral movement issues, but what 7-footer doesn't? He's been really good defensively.
He's incredibly strong, and he's got great hands, and yeah, I'm hoping it lasts. Let's see, who else in the West? If you had to bet on Phoenix or the Pelicans, who are you hitching your horse to?
I feel like if we get like 40 games where Booker plays 35 of them, which is a huge ask considering how he started this season, I would feel more comfortable in the Suns getting out of the play-in tournament, or at least like maintaining the top seed, than I would with the Pelicans. And Pelicans had won 4 straight prior to the walloping last night in Las Vegas, but the identity, it's just weird. I like them. And I think I wouldn't want to play them in the play-in tournament because I like one game. I think the Pelicans can win no problem, and I think they'll be a tough matchup for whoever draws them in the playoffs if they see the postseason. But Booker, just night in, night out, very steady, has really excelled in the point guard role in a way that we kind of saw was possible back in the bubble, back when he had like Eric Bledsoe next to him or whoever. But yeah, he's been really good. And if you just like trot out Durant next to him, or Durant and Beal, or even just Beal, I think they'll give most teams competitive games on most nights.
That was going to be my next question. Like, how much are you factoring in Beal to these plans? Because it feels like the NBA collectively has just been like, oh, he hurt his back, he's out of here. We don't care about him anymore. He's never coming back. And I haven't kept up with this, so I don't know if it's true or not. But it feels crazy that was like the huge swing they took this offseason. Like, bye Chris Paul. We're getting we're getting him, and he hasn't played, and they're still like impressive in a way because Kevin Durant is ageless, and then Devin Booker has just maybe Devin Booker just absorbed whatever energy Bradley Beal had left, and now he's just going to carry them. But yeah, They are the ninth ranked offense and the 18th ranked defense. And so I wonder, I feel like there's room for improvement on offense, but I don't know about the defense. I just don't know if
Yeah.
if they're gonna have the guys. Also, it was a little disheartening to see Devin Booker pass, it wasn't very aggressive hunting for his shot at the end of that Lakers game when it
Oh,
felt
he was
like he
horrible.
felt like he definitely should have been more I'd rather have you do whatever you want like shot creation wise than pass to Grayson Allen at
Well,
the end of
it's
this
because
game.
like simultaneously, it's fine if Booker passes. It's the issue where Booker four dribbles, gets to a spot where he usually pulls up from, pump fakes, Torian Prince doesn't bite on it or whoever's guarding him. That pass, you can't have that because the whole defense is already set when you move that ball. And so for him to, I don't know, he's a good slasher, get to the rim, kick out from there. I'm fine with that, but it's just he was weirdly ball dominant and not aggressive at the same time in a way that was very hard. Like you felt it on Phoenix's offense. And Durant bailed him out with some pull up threes and some catch and shoot. And like he caught a couple grenades that he just buried because he's so good. But yeah, like I don't know. I think there's definitely room for improvement offensively. And I don't know if Beal will help that. I think there might be a fairly steep learning curve because Booker's a good point guard, but I think he's like a good 27 points, 7 assists kind of point guard where you're kind of like facilitating by committee with Durant being a good playmaker and everyone else not letting the ball stick very much. But with Beal's pretty isolation heavy scorer and he should be a good 3-point shooter and everything. And like you said, a back injury, like I've written him off. It'll happen. He'll come back when he comes back, but I'm not holding my breath for it. At this point, I'm just kind of hoping if I'm a Suns fan, that they can get some of the load off of Kevin Durant because I don't want him to have to play like an MVP for 60 games and then hopefully we ride him into the playoffs and he takes us as far as he can there as well.
Yeah, I think with Beal, you're hoping for a return to the John Wall days when he was more Ray Allen than he was Monte Ellis or whatever. But even then, when you go back and watch those games, or I haven't gone back and watched the full film, but like I've gone back and watched like the old highlights, it was more your turn, my turn than I remembered. Like in my mind, he was just like completely off the ball, but that wasn't totally. So he always has been more of like an on-ball creator, I think. But yeah, I'm optimistic if healthy that they could figure something out and maybe like take this to new heights. I also do think shout out Yusuf Nurkic. Somehow Nurkic is an upgrade over Aiton this year. Who would have guessed? Who'd have thunk? But yeah, they maybe
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily. You know what? Who would you, if you're the Nuggets, who would you be more scared of in the playoffs, Phoenix or New Orleans?
Oh, Phoenix, without question. I think like I, New Orleans, no shot at stopping Denver's offense. Like, there's not a chance in hell. And Phoenix doesn't have it either. But I don't know if the Beal fit is seamless, and then you get the same production out of Booker and Durant that you had last year in the playoffs when they were kicking it. There were possessions they swing it to Okogie in the corner, and as a Nuggets fan, I'm like, shoot it, Josh, you got it, man. I believe in you. But like if they're swinging that to Beal in the corner, then I'm like, oh shit, this was a 6-game series with that Josh Okogie three. Now they have theoretically a very good 3-point shooter in that spot. Plus, I don't know. Nurkic went at Jokic the last time they matched up, and I think if that happens in the playoffs, Jokic will like probably be a lot better at basketball. I'm just kind of banking on him not trying that hard in that game for whatever reason. I would be more scared of Phoenix just because of like the microwave scoring ability of everybody on the team, especially the fact that you can play perfect defense on guys like Durant or Booker, and if they're hot, they'll still like just make the shot. Whereas New Orleans, I mean, there's a good shot New Orleans is banged up by the time they enter the playoffs. Like CJ's not that healthy. Valanciunas is kind of a health risk. Obviously Zion, we don't. I'm not confident you get like 50 games and a playoff run out of him. So yeah, I would go Phoenix. But Phoenix, it's just hard. If they make the playoffs or when they make the playoffs, whatever you want to say, they're so small compared to every other really good team in the West.
Well, I'll tell you what, you as a Nuggets fan, you need to be prepared for Yusuf Nurkic revenge tour. You traded the wrong center, and then you also need to be prepared for Bull revenge tour, because how can Jokic score on Bull? He's taller and he's longer than Jokic is, so I don't think that that's possible. So that's what they've been saving Bull for. He is still on the roster, correct? I believe, but they're saving him fresh legs. That's how it's gonna go.
Shout out to Kendrick Perkins, man. That's his DPOY finalist. Bull. How do you feel? I guess last team I'll touch on. We have the Heat at the 7 seed in the East. The Duncan Robinessence that we're in. It's good. I like him. He's been really solid, and the sample size is big enough for I believe that the jumper's back. Jaime Jaquez, very impressive. Heat culture, baby. And it seems like they are better than a 7th seed is playing right now. And if they continue, I feel like they will outlast. I think the Knicks are above them in the standings right now. I don't have a ton of faith in the Knicks as like a consistent presence at the top of the East throughout the season. I think they will falter at some point, and there will be like a spot for Miami to overtake them. And the Pacers are above them as well. I think the Pacers, they're looking more sustainable now than when I wrote this down on the paper. I just really believe in them after the Milwaukee win. But I don't know. They're a young team, and young teams, they struggle sometimes. They hit rocky patches, and they're not always well equipped to handle adversity. So maybe I think the Heat they have a good shot at getting out of the tournament.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just at the point where I'm just not gonna bet against them. It happens every single year. We're always like, they're kind of mid. They'll probably still be mid, and then they're not mid. So I'm just not gonna count them out. They're 12th on offense and 15th on defense right now. So defense is mid, offense is a little bit better than mid. Bam Adebayo's having a career year offensively. Yeah, I was just going through his numbers. I forget what they were, but I think he's shooting like an all-time high from mid-range and just like 20 points a game on good efficiency. And yeah, they have Jaime, they have Duncan Robinson taking the leap. Less is more. They didn't even want Damian Lillard, actually. They like Drew Holiday more than him. Like, whatever, you guys can have him in Milwaukee. Gross. But yeah, they definitely inspire me the most out of this play-in group, because like we have the Cavs 9th ranked defense but 23rd ranked offense. Darius Garland not playing well. He's averaging 6 assists and 4 turnovers, 33% from 3.
Fraud watch Darius Garland.
He's not better than Trey. He's never been better than Trey.
Why were you guys even saying that? You guys are fucking idiots. That's why we have the podcast. We know ball. He's not better than Trae Young. Stop talking.
But yeah, I think he'll bounce back. But that team kind of feels dead in the water. It feels like they've like Donovan Mitchell's out. Evan Mobley, Jarrett Allen pairing feels closer and closer to being out. I don't know what they're gonna do. Atlanta, typical Atlanta, win a game, lose a game, win a game, lose a game. They've been 500 for 500 years. The Knicks are somehow 9th ranked defense, 11th ranked offense. I don't believe in either one. I'm not afraid of them if I go into a playoff series. And then the most surprising team out of these teams to me is the Nets. And so Cam Thomas has come back down to earth. He's more just like he's below league average efficiency. He's still putting up big numbers, but it's like slightly inefficient scoring on like 2 assists a game or something. And so, but somehow this team that's just Cam Thomas, Mikal Bridges, and a bunch of defenders, they are the 7th ranked offense in the league and the 19th ranked defense. And they have a top 10 bench. They have the sixth best bench. Lonnie Walker is shooting 48% from three. I have not been watching Brooklyn. I don't know what's going on there. They are a bizarre team.
I caught the end of their game against the Hawks where Trey buried a step back three and he was like walking down on defense hitting the burr emote, and then
And
Mikhail
he
comes
shut
down.
down. Yeah.
he comes down and just buries a mid-range with like 3 seconds left, and the
Oh,
the Hawk, yeah, no, like he
I'm
won
thinking of when he
Brooklyn the game.
locked him down in isolation. I'm thinking of when Trey shut him down.
No, this was, I mean, to win, literally to win the game with like 3 seconds left. Trey hit a crazy shot and was super happy about it. And yeah, like they didn't get back. And Mikal, well, they did. It was a tough shot. It seems like all Mikal Bridges shots are, but he hit it and they won. It's weird. Spencer Dinwiddie's good offensively. Nick Claxton is a nice little rim pressure guy. I don't really know how much he's been playing. It feels like he's always kind of in and out in the lineup with health.
He missed a lot at the beginning of the season. Dinwiddie is like 6 assists to like no turnovers, and he has the best on off of anybody on their team. So, and I don't know what's going on there. I don't know. It's like him, Lonnie Walker, and like Cam Johnson. I think they're like the big three, man.
Oh yeah, damn. Cam Johnson. It's weird. The Nets made the trade, the KD trade, sent him to Phoenix, and they get Mikal and Cam Johnson back. And my gut, I'm like, oh, whoa, that's two solid young guys, man. And they're a little older for young prospects. He's like 30 years old, Cam Johnson.
He played like 5 years of college basketball or something. And you know what else is Ben Simmons is just gone. He was bad, and then I saw him post like a few weeks ago. I feel like I saw him. He was posting on TikTok. He's like, I found the joy again. I found the spark again. Like he's posting to these inspirational audios. Like when you change your scenery, everything comes into place. And then I look at the numbers. I'm like, you're not doing well. and then now I think he's out again. So I don't know.
I saw a TikTok from him today. It was a transition where he showed off his cool new Ford Bronco. So
epic,
not like
epic.
not like a ton of basketball. It doesn't seem like he was. I don't know. I'm not going to say he wasn't focused, but he definitely wasn't actively dribbling a basketball when he recorded that. I don't know. If you told me, so we got the 4 teams in the East: the Heat, Cavs, Nets, Hawks. If you were like the Nets just plummet and they finish the season like 12th in the East, that doesn't surprise me. Maybe they moved off some of their good guys and actually got on track for like a legitimate rebuild. Maybe somebody got hurt that was just instrumental to them like treading water. That of these 3 teams, I don't love the Cavs, and I do feel like they're in a loveless marriage with Donovan Mitchell right now, and he'll get to New York if it fucking kills him. But I think they're steadier than the Nets are. The Nets feel very unsustainable to me.
Yeah, if I had to rank them, I'm going Miami first. I'm going Atlanta second, just because I do believe the offense is real. The defense is tragic as always, but maybe Jalen Johnson, when he comes back, he could save it. He could drag it up to top 20. But yeah, between this Cavs and the Nets team is like Cavs clearly have more talent, but the vibes are off. Nets, I don't know what the vibes are, but it's working somehow.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't know. The East, there was like a moment maybe 2 years ago where the big narrative comes around every 5 years. Oh, the East is catching up to the West. The East, they're better than the West this year. And now you look at the play-in this season, it's like, okay, the Heat, you don't want to play in the first round. Every other team here happily would be like your first round draw in the playoffs. I would have no problem playing any of these teams first round in the playoffs. And then the West, I guess you would want to play like the Pels first round, but the Suns, Clippers, and Rockets as like a first round matchup, it's gross. I would not want to go. I wouldn't want to try to win 4 games against any of those teams. It's going to be gritty at the very least, and it might be really, really hard if you get like nuclear Devin Booker or something.
Do we have any possibility of a Hawks Pacers first round playoff series? Because that would be spectacular. That would be 204 to 208. Trae Young and Tyrese Haliburton putting up Donovan Mitchell, Jamal Murray bubble numbers. That would be amazing. Oh my God. And imagine if the Hawks won. I would be so mean to all the Haliburton fans because they're up right now and I'm down. But man,
Yeah,
that'd be great.
damn. I'm kind of the opposite. I'm a Halliburton guy. I'm up, and Trey. Well, it's so crazy because I got like in trouble on Twitter for like I was talking shit on Trey Young, and a guy was like, "You're wrong," and I don't know. But ever since then, like that is the only I was cool with Trey Young prior to that, and every time I watch him, I'm like, no, this fan was a fucking dickhead online, man. Fuck this guy. And so like Halliburton nukes the Bucks, and I'm like, yeah, Trey Young could never do this shit, man. And so I mean,
Well, well,
Trey's been
game
really
one of
good.
the Eastern Conference Finals, 2021. No, if Trey Young fans, we are in the soup. We are in the soup bread line. The soup. What am I trying to say? We're in the soup homeless line, asking for bread. We're like, please, just crumbs
Please,
of
sir, we're in the Oliver Twist line. Please,
yeah,
sir.
yeah. I'm like, please give me something that resembles 2021. And he's been steadily climbing his way back
Mm-hmm.
up. He's at league average efficiency. But right now, Trey Young fans, we don't have an argument. We just
I don't know.
don't.
The thing is with Trey Young, you hold players to the standards that they set for themselves, and it's similar to like why we're shitting all over Zion right now is you see like the heights that these guys can reach in terms of like Trey Young as a focal point of an offense when he's surrounded by guys who really maximize the things that he does well is so good. And to have a guy like that who he had his own little Halliburton moment against the Knicks a few years back, and then into
Yeah.
he beat the Sixers. He was really cool in the playoffs. He owned MSG. He had like ice tray celebrations, and so he's not afraid of the big moments the same way that Halliburton hasn't been so far. It's just getting to those big moments. It's not easy. You have to win a lot of regular season games, and the Hawks have not been able to do that really since then.
Yeah, and he's had the fall. He had the heroic rise, and then he had the fall against Miami, and then it was against the Celtics last year. So he's got ground to cover. But last time when they played the Pacers last time, what would they like combined? They both had the best games of their career or whatever. So they
Yeah,
were
and it
nuts.
rocked. I would love that matchup. I don't think it's going to happen. The Pacers would need to be wildly good for the rest of the season just because the top, like, even if you call that like the 4-5 matchup and the Hawks somehow magically get to the 5 seed, it'd be tough.
Well, so let's see. The play-in is it's the seventh seed is the highest seed that it includes.
Yeah.
So
So we could get we
yeah.
could get a
So
play-in game. We could get a play-in game between them, no problem. But
oh man, that would be so good. All right, I'm gonna
that
start rooting for Pacers losses. I want that. I want that. I want Halliburton, Trey for all the marbles. But if Trey underperforms in that game, I might kill myself.
Yeah, it doesn't count if that. Yeah, it only counts if my guy wins and plays well.
Well, yeah, there was wind in the stadium that day, of course. That I so wait. Do you have anything more on the playing teams?
No, I'm really we're coasting right now. We got an hour 40 locked in, and we can. I mean, yeah. What do you got?
All right, so two more things. First thing is quick. Ice Bryce Sensabaugh in the G League, 18 points game, 5.9 rebounds a game, 3.6 assists per game. Don't look up the turnovers. 1.2 steals per game, 40% from three on 7 attempts per game, 94% from the free throw line. Don't look up how many free throws. 59% true shooting. So,
Holy
I mean,
shit!
I wouldn't want to be the coach playing Simone Fontecchio or whatever above that guy, but
Yeah, that'd be kind of embarrassing. I don't know. What
I
do we
mean,
know?
if 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 I had somebody come into my stadium, open up my mouth wider than any dentist ever has, and then take just have diarrhea into it for 24 hours straight, no, even beyond that, like Itachi Tsukiyomi, where they're just shoving diarrhea down your mouth.
Jesus
That's that
Christ.
is what Luka Doncic did to the Utah Jazz. And so they need to change something up. Maybe play Ice Bryce. I mean,
Yeah. Well, I
crazy.
mean, at the bare minimum, when you play Ice Bryce, you're getting a guy who can cancel out what Luca does offensively, kind of go bar for bar with him. And so then at
Mhm.
that point, it's like it's your job to put the help around him who can like overcome the rest of the Mavericks. And that's tough. But like to not even play Ice Bryce, to have him in the G League, it's just how do you have a job, you know?
Uh, there might be Hamas in Will Hardy's office or whatever. Um,
They're making him play Ice Bryce in the G League. Be nice to
blow
him,
it up,
everybody.
guys. Blow it up. No,
All right.
that is a joke. I'm not calling for the assassination of Will Hardy. Um, the final thing, the Spurs have lost 15 straight. The Pistons have lost 18 straight. A new year is approaching. Who will win a game first? So I've written down all the the likely win opportunities we have. So the Spurs, they play the Bulls today. So by the time this comes out, they may be able to get a win. So
they
maybe
might have a.
they'll escape. And then they play the Bulls again on the 21st. So they get two attempts at a trash Bulls team. Then they get the Jazz, but on the 26th, the day after Christmas. So they better hope Ice Bryce isn't called up before then. If he's not there, then they have a chance. Then they get back-to-back Blazers games, 28th and 29th. So
Damn.
they have 5 realistic shots at ending this losing streak. Um, the Pistons, they get the Hawks on the 18th. So that's a winnable game. It just depends. Did the Hawks win or did they lose the night before? Because
Yeah.
they're gonna do whatever to stay at 500. They also get a game against Utah. They get a back to back with Brooklyn. Do we think they could steal one off of Brooklyn? 23rd and 26th, and then finally Toronto on the 30th. So who would you bet on ending that streak? I can repeat the matchups if you need.
I don't need you to. I'm gonna bet San Antonio. I feel everyone you described for San Antonio feels worse than like the worst matchup uh Detroit has. Like Detroit plays the Jazz once.
Yeah, they get the Jazz once. I mean, yeah, Brooklyn and Hawks are both playing teams, and then Toronto.
Yeah, but like the thing about the Pistons is there's this path forward theoretically with the Spurs where you could get the second nuclear Wembanyama game, like the game
Mm.
he had against the Suns. You could get the second one of that. You have a variety of guys who like theoretically could catch fire, especially against like if you get cracks at the Blazers multiple times or the Bulls. I think is a good matchup for Wembanyama, and I think like that might be where you see a really good game from him. I don't like the Vucevic matchup for Chicago
Well,
very
we might
much.
stick Caruso on it.
I mean, that's true. Yeah, the Grant Williams method, like that wouldn't be too bad actually. Yeah, it's just San Antonio feels like a better team getting more attempts at worse opponents, whereas Detroit. I've watched Detroit games now because I'm like, is this the win? Is this the win? And several of them, they've been in the game with like 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and then it's just like, oh, the other team can just like really, really commit to transition baskets, and there's nothing else in Detroit that's even approaching like NBA basketball. It's so disgusting to watch.
Oh my god. I think I'm in the same boat. I'm gonna bet on the Spurs to win tonight. Not literally. I'm not gonna put my money where my mouth is, but I feel the vibes. I think we'll get a good Spurs game. Um and they'll pull out a W against our mid fumbling team.
Hell yeah. The Grizzlies kind of in a cluster. I saw your video on that. Coach Lou. If you guys
Mm.
don't know, Lou is an assistant coach for the Memphis Grizzlies. He's like a mildly big social media presence, and he has been having pretty vocal public beef with Marcus Smart after like some locker room comments where Smart essentially told him like they don't need what he provides as an assistant coach.
Yeah, it's not a good look to have the franchise player arrested, or not arrested, but suspended for waving a gun around, and then like right before he's coming back, you have no name assistant. Who is this guy? He's chastising Marcus Smart on social media. They got trouble down in Memphis.
Yeah, no. I mean, Marcus reached out and he was like mediate between, because I'm close with Lou and I've known
Oh,
Marcus for a little while now, and so then I reached out to Lou. He is dug in, man. He doesn't care if he loses his job over this, is like word on the street, and I don't want to put words in his mouth or anything, but let's just hope the jaw comeback just kind of fixes everything for them. Winning fixes everything. Maybe winning 10 games fixes everything. Who knows? But the Grizzlies are in an ugly, ugly spot.
Jaren Jackson Jr. is like top 5 in getting his shot blocked. I don't know why, but he's up there.
Well, it's because I don't know. Does not really have the release point of a 7-footer, and isn't like, doesn't create space with physicality the way that a center normally does, and is not good inside the paint particularly. It'd be really cool if Steven Adams was healthy and could just like pass block the guy trying to block the shot the way they used to do, and he could get a layup or a dunk or something, but shit has just not been there for Triple J this season. That's why Jaime Jaquez, he's the new Triple J. Jaren Jackson Jr., you have to say his full name now because nobody knows who you're talking about. Washed bum.
Hey. That's JJJ in Spanish.
That's really good. Hey. Damn. I'll have to use that for Jaquez. All right. That is damn near 2 hours of free content. So everyone listening, you
And everyone
freeloaders,
subscribe to our Patreon. We're doing another 2 hours right now, and you're going to get those next 2 hours if you sign up. That's
absolutely. I really wouldn't mind doing that. Maybe I'll put a poll on something, because it'd be nice to start making some money off this. And if we bring out the where is Hamas bit next week, I don't know if the sponsors are really going to tap in for that. So thank you everyone for supporting the show.
How do we get the what's crap? What are they called? What's Theo Ash and Spanhower's podcast?
Stay hot, pod.
Stay hot. How they got the Little Caesars sponsorship?
Dude.
Hook us up.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it. They have Little Caesars Player of the Week. Hear me out. Lockheed Martin Player of the Week, and we could maybe we could target them for a little bit of guap, and we'll stop being so mean to you guys on our podcast.
I'll sell out. I'll do it for an incredibly reasonable salary. I will sell out.
That's what I'm saying. I saw you cranked out a little YouTube video a couple days ago. You want people to go check that out?
Oh, wait a second. We didn't even play my game. Do you want to play it, or
yeah? Fuck it. I got time. Okay. Let's do it, man.
Okay. All right. So we'll end on my game, and so this game time is brought to you by the Hot Tunes TV China NBA YouTube channel. I just posted another 40+ minute video talking about player expectations. Go check it out. Send it to the stars. So this game, let me get my pencil. So, all right, I can't find my pencil offhand, so we're just gonna have to keep score with our brains.
Your pencil's in your ear, you goober.
That's crazy. All right. When did I do that? Have I had that the whole time?
It's been there for a while.
Oh wow. All right.
Magic of Christmas, baby. Your hat.
I'm gonna give. There's 10 options. So let's see. Let's again establish what out of 10 do you have to get to make this a success? 7, 5.
Let's call it 6. Let's split the difference.
6. Okay. So the game here is I'm going to name a player and you have to guess what they majored in college. So
okay. Is this multiple choice?
No. Just
Okay,
vibe.
perfect.
What did Damian Lillard major in at Weber State?
Sports broadcasting.
Sales. Listen, he's a grinder. He's a rise and grinder.
He
So you got
is. Damn,
it.
that makes sense.
Jeremy Lin at Harvard.
Oh, fuck. Um, maybe like business?
Close. Econ.
Oh my god.
Kelly Olynyk, one of your comps.
Yeah, that's my guy. If I fuck this
So
up, he'll
what
never.
would you major in? No, it's not that.
Kelly Olynyk probably majored in, he looks like he majored in agriculture, I'll tell you what, but I'm gonna say he majored in finance.
I'm gonna count this as a dub. He was accounting.
Oh, hell yeah. Absolutely. Okay, if I don't get multiple choice, if I get 4 of these right, I'll be over the moon with myself.
All right. So Dwight Powell, he went to Stanford University.
Dwight Powell seems like he majored in mathematics.
Okay. So his major, I think this is all one major because
Oh,
it said he majored in science, comma, technology, and society. So is mathematics part of science, technology, and society? is that a? I'll leave it up to you. Is that a dub or a
he
failure?
majored in society?
Science, technology, and society.
Oh, that's not. I'm not getting math for that, but that's so fucking funny. Society. All right, let's keep it pushing.
All right, Tim Duncan, NBA legend.
Oh man. Tim Duncan probably.
He actually wrote a paper on this subject as well. He was published.
Let's do like he studied politics.
Oh, psychology.
Rats.
Danny Granger.
Majored in fucking buckets, baby. No, Danny Granger majored in English.
Civil engineer.
God damn it. These dorks, man. They're going for these like really reliable career paths if they don't make the league.
The other great pacer of his time, Roy Hibbert, Georgetown University. What did he major in at Georgetown University?
Shit. Hibbert went to Georgetown? Damn.
Hoya.
Hoya. I'm gonna say Hibbert majored in oh fuck. Like video production because he's a YouTuber now.
No, he did government.
Damn. Oh, because he.
No, this would have been better if I gave you a word bank of all of them and you had to match it. Well, we learned. Jeff Green also went to Georgetown.
Yeah, Jeff Green majored in public relations.
English with a minor in theology.
Oh, damn. Okay, Jeff.
Shane Battier at Duke.
Shane Battier at Duke majored in. You know how I'm a fucking idiot? It's because I'm running out of majors. Shane Battier majored in geography. He wanted to be a teacher.
God, no. He majored in religion. And then the final one, this is the most difficult one. So let's say if you get this one, you're redeemed.
All
Because
right,
this man is unreadable. Meta World Peace.
Oh, he went to college?
Yeah.
Dude,
I think St. John's.
I thought he was straight out of high school for some reason. Can I have a hint, please?
Well, you know what? Did he play in college? He might have just gone to college. I don't know if he played in college. A hint. Let's see. What would a good hint be? You use it at every time you go to a restaurant. This is a little tough hint by me. This is a little trickery.
You use it when you go to a restaurant.
Every single time.
I'm gonna say math because you're doing 20% tip.
You got it. Meta World Peace was a math major. So you got 2 out of 10. You got Meta World Peace and then Kelly Olynyk. So you can only read the vibes of those two. So that's who you're in tune with.
Damn. Okay. Well, I'm happy with that. Ending on a win, that makes me feel good. All
that
right.
was brought to you by Hot 2 CV China NBA YouTube channel. Everyone go check it out.
All right. Everyone go check out Pablo Escoball on TikTok. Check out JokicJoestar on TikTok. Follow us both on Twitter. Subscribe to the Patreon. That's not there yet, but if it ever shows up, you better subscribe. Otherwise, something ominous will happen. Thank you all for tuning in to this 2-hour fucking smorgasbord of nonsense, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Peace.